Recent reports reveal that a new global currency that will rival both the dollar and the euro is in the making and could lead to the end of the US dollar. 5 countries known as the Brics, which include Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, are making efforts for the establishment of a joint currency reserve. This move, if successfully developed and established, is expected to improve their economic fortunes. Experts are even saying that the outcomes may yield a powerful global currency that will de-dollarize the economy. In today's video, we will be looking into the situation more closely. Welcome to Financify. Make sure to subscribe with notifications on. Now, let's get into it. It all began with something known as the Brics Contingent Reserves Arrangement. Now, what does this mean? The Brics Contingent Reserves Arrangement, also known as the CRA, is an arrangement established to provide support for countries during short-term balance of payment pressures. It prefers the structure for access to liquidity and precautionary instruments during such periods. It was established in 2015 by all the countries in Brics with its basis founded upon the Treaty for the Establishment of a Brics Contingent Reserve Arrangement, an agreement that had been previously signed in 2014 at Fortaleza, Brazil. The primary goal is this currency reserve is to protect countries' currencies from global financial pressures, which may cause adverse financial and economic effects. How will the Brics currency operate? Pavel Nyazov, Russian diplomat and points person for the Brics, has spoken concerning this new project. He says that the new reserve currency will be based on a basket of currencies from all 5 countries. Pavel said, the possibility and prospects of setting up a common single currency based on a basket of currencies of the Brics countries are being discussed. This was during an economic conversation at the Valdai Club in Moscow a few months ago. Also, at Brics' 14th summit in June, Russia's President Vladimir Putin stated openly that the 5 countries had reached a consensus to establish a new global reserve currency. He has also said that this initiative is similar to the International Monetary Fund. This joint initiative will establish a strong financial structure that will strengthen the Brics as a whole and each country as well. However, they're not limiting the scope to the 5 countries alone. Putin said that the project is open for partners who are willing to join based on fairness. Currently, each of the countries is engaging in intense research and analysis to study the mechanisms needed for the proper exchange of financial information. This will help to build an efficient alternative to international payments. If effectively established, the Brics and other countries who join their alliance will have the advantage of reducing their dependence on strong global currencies like the dollar and euro. Before this, these 5 countries have been trying to find a means to break free from the burden of reliance on Western financial systems. At one time, a joint payment system was proposed, and perhaps this global currency reserve is the outcome of that proposition. The member countries of this powerful alliance have also employed the use of local currencies in mutual trade. This is coming at a time when a major stakeholder of the Brics Association, Russia, is facing sanctions due to the Ukrainian war. Yet, the Russian ruble has remained the strongest performing currency on a global scale with an average addition of more than 30%. Despite the good tidings that this new currency seems to foretell, it remains a difficult and cumbersome project that must be tackled slowly and carefully. It cannot be rushed. What are the implications of this currency reserve? This currency reserve has a series of implications for countries, individuals, and the Brics conglomerate as a whole. One major effect will be on the balance of payments. But to understand this well, let's do a quick explanation of what it is. The balance of payments, otherwise known as BOP, is how countries keep tabs on their international transactions. It shows how money comes out and goes into the country. In certain situations, as needed, countries can go into debt to fund their economies. This can also be influenced by fluctuations in currency power, where inflation can push a country into unprecedented debt. A new currency reserve will mean that when there's a debt crisis, it can be quickly covered. This also helps to rescue the country in times of emergency without needing to seek external help, which may come at a high cost. In addition to this, keeping currency reserves of stable foreign currencies guards against fluctuations in currency strength. This is how it works when there's a central reserve for a group of countries, such as Brics. When the currency of one of the countries is threatened, the fluctuations are kept at a safe level without tilting too dangerously despite any challenges or difficulties. The bright sides of this currency reserve are endless. Brics countries will have access to more loans, higher spending power, and increase in economic growth, since they can easily pay off foreign debts. For members of these countries, the positive impacts are clear to see. A stable economy is always good news to the citizens, as it helps with better business returns, employment, and investment opportunities. Economic stability means that there will be stable exchange rates. This makes it possible to plan for foreign expenses, such as vacations, real estate investments, and luxury purchases. In unstable economies, inflation and deflation can change the fortunes of individuals suddenly. In cases where it is negative, the effects can be devastating. This is where the currency reserve comes in. The question remains how quickly this will be implemented, how much time it will take to gain stability, and if the lofty expectations for this currency reserve will be met. Many have speculated that this may simply be a pipe dream, but until then, we wait. This may be one of the most powerful financial collaborations in the history of the world's economy. A unification of the Chinese RMB yuan, the Russian ruble, the Indian rupee, the Brazilian real, and the South African rand. Is this a worthy project? At a time when the world is still recovering from a global pandemic, it is becoming increasingly clear that financial crises are inevitable. Each country is saddled with the responsibility of developing methods and systems to help manage these crises when they arise. This means that structures must be put in place in anticipation of emergencies before they occur. Proper preparation will help to mitigate negative consequences. This is why the Brics currency reserve is a laudable project with obvious benefits and advantages. In 2008, during the Great Economic Recession, the whole world was witness to the possible weakness, volatility, and vulnerability of the dollar. Yet, this is one of the world's biggest global currencies, and due to its universality, the recession spread quickly to other countries. Currently, economic analysis shows that Brics countries have a joint holding of almost 50% of the foreign exchange reserves of the world. This means that, alas, the pursuit of a currency reserve and subsequently a new currency with the ability to displace the dollar is not far from possible. The numbers are favorable. One of the member countries, China, has the world's largest foreign reserves with over $3 trillion. This alone will place the Brics currency reserve several miles ahead on its quest for significance and subsequent dominance. Yet, strangely, this idea has not had the welcome that would be naturally anticipated. Perhaps it's simply a case of people staying with what they're used to and a crippling fear of the unknown. Several years after it was first suggested, the Brics currency reserve remains a dream yet to come to life. However, recently there have been louder calls for the currency reserve. Russia is championing the cause for this reserve that they hope will be a suitable substitute for the US dollar in international transactions. Suspicions. It's imperative to mention that Russia's loud call for this reserve at this time might be for personal interests. Since February 2022, the Russian Federation has been at war with Ukraine and had faced several sanctions. A major one is the embargo and half of its currency reserves. In addition to this, the United States and several European countries have begun to make moves toward restricting Russia's energy exports. As we continue to watch this unfold, one thing is clear: this is a great idea. However, the time may not be right. Despite China's strength, the Russian economy is being plagued by an onslaught of economic volatility, which may end up becoming the undoing of the Brics currency reserve if it sees the light of day now. But this isn't the only threat to the U.S. economy, as a variety of other problems are surfacing. The main problem is that the U.S. housing market is about to go through the worst crash in decades. If you want to find out more about this, then check out the video on screen now. Trust me, you don't want to miss it.